We were discussing E.K. Sarkar. Just to summarize the points we underlined yesterday. His first point was that it is not a good idea to begin the study of Hindu society either with Manusmriti or Chanakya Niti or Arthashastra or Kautilya. And it is certainly not a good idea to begin with Max Weber's Sociology of Religion. Instead, he said, Indian society requires its own sociology based on its own concepts. And he proposed four major premises to be studied. First, that Sukra Niti, Niti means ethics. Should be the foundational text for the study of Hindu society. Now, before he gave his first lecture and wrote his first article, which was later on became the foundation stone for the 4 volumes of the positive background of Hindu sociology. Most people had heard about only two Niti Shastras, two books of ethics. One was Chanakya Niti and the other was Vidur Niti. And very few people read Shukra Niti because of the popular mythology called Ramayana. Of course, there is difference between Tulsidasa's Ramcharitmanas written during the reign of Akbar and Valmiki Ramayana, which is the first epic of the planet Earth. Very old text, older than Mahabharata, older than Greek classics and Latin classics. I'm not going to elaborate it at the moment. In case there is sufficient time, we can discuss it later on. But just I'll make two simple sentences, simple propositions. He took Sukra Niti because of three reasons. Number one, because Sukracharya was regarded in late 19th century and early 20th century Indology and Oriental studies as the guru or teacher of the demon king Ravana. Therefore, in the language of Himayat Durkheim, Sukracharya became the test case for the study of Hindu society. Test case, For example, Arunta totemism was the test case to study the most simple, most primitive religious form of the human species. It was a very fascinating style of doing research. He said it is not necessary to pitch the best of India with the best of European. Are you getting the point? his technique was to pitch the demonic, the villain, the undesirable, the anti-sacred, the antithesis. I do not know whether it was arrogance, the Hindu arrogance of B.K. Sarkar, or it was something else. But it was so courageous for a Bengali Indian to write, to speak in 1906-7, because then the British Raj was still being governed from Kolkata. The capital had shifted to Delhi only in December 1911. It is as if one JNU student goes and says to Mr. Modi, "You are stupid." The man had so much courage. He said, "Even our worst should be considered at par with your heroes. Don't demonize Indian society. Don't talk about our heroes and saints and sages. Talk about our villains. Our villains have more ethical foundations than your heroes." You can imagine what would have been the implication, political implication for him. But as we have it, almost half of Indian sociology, even today, consciously, subconsciously, or unconsciously, is influenced by B.K. Sarkar. People think that it was D.D. Kosambi who started the Marxist social science in India. People think that M.N. Roy was the first political philosopher of Marxist leaning. But actually, these people, very, very, very intelligent people, whether it was M.N. Roy or D.D. Kosambi, they were very defensive people, This was not a defensive man. It requires courage to say that Indian tradition represented aggressive materialism and not a spiritualism or asceticism. Because the man was neither atheist nor agnostic. He was a devout worshipper of Kali. Therefore, what he was trying to say? He was trying to say that the polarity between spiritualism and materialism doesn't make any sense to us Indians. We are followers of integral view of life. That was his first assertion. And he said there is nothing wrong in being materialist. Our all gods and goddesses are materialistic in some sense. After all, it is only the Hindu society on earth which worships Lakshmi. And being wealthy is a virtue for Indians. And he said again and again, we were invaded, we were conquered, not because we were spiritual, but because we were affluent society, we were rich society. And our richness, our prosperity was not based on plunder, loot, colonialism. It was the product of hard work. And please do not communalize our history. After Prithviraj Chauhan, there was no Hindu king in India who was sovereign. Even the so-called Muslim rule did not alter the basic structure of Indian society. Therefore, when he is saying Hindu society, he is not referring to Hindu religion the way you understand it today. He said there was no Hindu religion until Orientalism and Indology invented it. It is an argument which was later on articulated in the context of caste by Nicholas Dirks, castes of mind. You know, because today we have only the abridged version of his sociology, but in National Library, Calcutta, you have all the volumes. And even I have, myself seen this up to 1977. There are many families in India where one person of the family, joint family, is a Vaishnavite and the other is a Savite and the third goes to a Sufi Dargah and the fourth goes to a Jaina. As late as 1977, there are many families in India where you can find older people who will tell you that there is one family, predominantly Hindu family, where there is only one Muslim family and Eid is celebrated by the whole village. In the same way, there have been villages in India where there is one Hindu family and majority of Muslim families around. And when the marriage takes place in that Hindu family, the whole Muslim fraternity comes and performs the ritual of Hindus. It will be very difficult to digest these facts in these communalized times. I am not saying India is great. I am only saying India has been different. And Louis Dumont had got it wrong. Individualism has been the core of Indian society. But Indian individualism is different from modern individualism. What is the difference? The difference you can find, I am giving you two examples. One, Ramayana, the other Mahabharata. But wait, you also take the case of Shah Jahan and his sons. He had 4 sons and 2 daughters. What is common between Jahan Ara and Roshan Ara? What is common between Tara Shikoh and Aurangzeb or Murad? Is Mughal family mechanical solidarity? Is there no individual self? Is Vibhishan similar to Kumbhakarna and Ravan? Is there no difference between Yudhishthir, Arjun, Bhim, Nakul and Sahadev? Is there no difference between Jinnah, Maulana Abul Kalam Azad and Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan? Is there no difference between Mahatma Gandhi, Sardar Patel, Rajendra Prasad and Jawaharlal Nehru? Is there no difference between Lal Krishna Advani and Atal Bihari Vajpayee? You cannot understand India through alien concepts. This was B.K. Sarkar, but this is also T.K. Umen, the Christian from Kerala. Go and read in our library T.K. Umen's book, Alien Concepts and South Asian Reality. Umen said, you cannot understand South Asia, that is India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc., through European concepts. Now take another case. Indian Muslims are qualitatively different from Persian Muslims and Arabic Muslims. Example, how many Muslims in India have more than one wife? Most Indian Muslims have been monogamous. Divorce rate is negligible. On the contrary, among the westernized Hindus, there are many wives, legal and illegal. Take the actor Dharmendra, Boni Kapoor. There are more Hindus who have taken liberty of the Shariat. Dharmendra became a Muslim to marry Hema Malini. But he was not a devout Muslim. He was a fraud Muslim. In the same way, there are also fraud Hindus and fraud Christians. They are deviant people. They are not normal people. You cannot understand any society only on the basis of deviant people, deviant behavior. But I agree with Imai Durkheim that a certain percentage of crime and deviance is normal in any society. B.K. Sarkar is saying, begin with Raman and his guru Sukracharya. Then you will understand. The similar argument is being put forward by the Marxist Muslim from Aligarh, Irfan Habib. Read Cambridge Economic History of India, Volume 1, edited by Tapan Rai Chaudhary and Irfan Habib. Or read the Latin American Andre Gundel Frank, Reorient. They are not denying that spirituality is found in India, but it is also found in other societies. The uniqueness of India was that we knew how to create wealth, but we were not attached to it. Therefore, there is a very popular bhajan sung by Anup Jalota, and he is referring to a man who was Rahim Khan Khana. He was son of Bairam Khan, the guardian of Akbar. And he says that a good gift giver in India, Rahim says that in India, a good gift giver is the one whose, suppose you are giving the gift from this hand, he says, Rahim says, that in case the other hand knows that you are giving gift to him or her, then you are a bad gift giver. गुप्त दान होना चाहिए. And as you know, the Mughals came from an area near Samarkand, partly Uzbekistan, partly Kyrgyzstan, because then, the modern boundary, the contemporary boundary was not found in 16th century. For example, can you discuss Indian culture without Takshila? And where Takshila is located? Mohenjo-daro, where it is located? Can you discuss Mahabharata without Afghanistan? Gandhar, from where Gandhari came. Do you know the meaning of Asur? Most Indians think that Mahishasur or Asur, in this campus we have strange creatures. Actually, Asur is a Persian term. The original term is Ahur. Like Sindhu is Hindu, Sindhu became Hindu in Persia. In the same way, Ahur of Persian became Asur in India. And you know what is written in the Vedas? That Asurs are superior. Dev, Asur, Daitya. These are classifications of the Vedas. What is the difference between the three? The difference is that Asurs are more courageous people. They have more courage, more physical strength, more intelligent people. And who are the Devas? God is your translation. In Sanskrit, God is not found. There are Asurs and there are Devas and there are Daityas. And who are Devas? They are more clever. Therefore, when the milking of ocean took place, Lakshmi was taken over by the Devas. Nectar or Amrit was taken over by the Devas. You read Hindu mythology and you will find that most of the tricks, cleverness are found in the community of called the Devas. Therefore, gods, the bad translation of Deva, are clever people. They are not necessarily more intelligent, more ethical, more strong. What does it mean? B.K. Sarkar and his followers, I am naming his followers, Radha Kamal Mukherjee, his follower, D.P. Mukherjee, his follower, A.K. Saran, his follower, 99.9% of Indian Marxists, his follower, 99.9% of Indian spiritualists, his follower. Why? Because he was the first person in Indian sociology who was dealing with the basic text without the aid of a foreign translator. How Indian sociology has developed? Indian sociology has developed by learning the wrong thing and then realizing it is wrong. First, English is not the natural language of sociology. Sociology emerged in France, was developed in Germany, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Russia, and then came to India. It takes time to understand the other. Now, what is required of you in Indian sociology? that you read your own society, your own culture, your own custom through a book written by a person who did not understand either your language or your culture, and then you make a critique of it. By the time you are about to understand the reality, the course is over. As a result, what you have? The degree. But where is the knowledge? You have no time to master the language of truth or reality. As a result, it is very difficult to digest. You know, the uniqueness of Indian society. They said Indian society is a tolerant society. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. You can tolerate only up to 90 degrees. You cannot tolerate up to 180 degrees. There is no society on earth which can tolerate up to 180 degrees. You can tolerate up to 90 degrees. Therefore, what type of religious communities are found in India? This is the question which was discussed by three major sociologists. B.K. Sardar, number one, and his followers. Second was G.S. Ghurye. Ghurye is a very important person like B.K. Sardar. But there has been great injustice to him. What is the injustice? You cannot equate the Communist Manifesto with Karl Marx. In the same way, you cannot equate G.S. Ghurye with caste and race in India. The first book of G.S. Ghurye, Caste and Race in India, was written when he was not even 24 years old. And his later writings are neither studied nor taught. But he is a terribly important sociologist which requires your attention today or tomorrow. Now I am coming to his but first I must give the 4 points of B.K. Sarkar. First, Sukradinti, not Chanakya Niti. Sukracharya as the ethical prophet of Hindu India. Second, Yagyavalkya Smriti, not Manu Smriti. Third, Indian life had always been based on a secular foundation. Indian life had always been based on a secular foundation. This is his hypothesis. And he considers that even the so-called demonized regimes have been secular in practice. For example, Aurangzeb or Shivaji, they are considered, communal rulers of India. Shivaji as Hindu ruler and Aurangzeb as Muslim ruler. But was it in practice? Who was the commander-in-chief of Maratha army? Ibrahim Gardi. Commander-in-chief, not a soldier. And who was the commander-in-chief of Akbar? Man Singh. Who was the finance minister of Akbar? Toderman. Who was his great companion? Birbal. And now let us come to the demonized Aurangzeb. He destroyed 13 temples to broaden the road, but he also financed 103 temples. Sometimes they say 113. It is there in a book, unfortunately edited by me, and there is an article by C.N. Venugopal, and he had given this figure. Now they say that, Aurangzeb imposed jizya tax on the Hindus. Yes, he did, but do you know why? Because his so-called secular ancestors, the great Akbar, the great Jahangir, the great Shah Jahan, they were spending 30% of state's taxes on their own lives. He had empty coffer, and a great empire requires tax. Then there was a difference. Muslim citizens were paying already equivalent of jizya tax. It is called zakat, voluntary gift for the unfortunate brothers of yours. He said, since Muslims are taking care of their neighborhood, and I am not forcing you to become Muslims, the state coffers are empty, I need money to safeguard my territory. He invited suggestions. Unfortunately, since he had imprisoned his father, like Akhilesh Yadav has done in Lucknow, majority of the supporters of Shah Jahan boycotted that meeting which Aurangzeb convened. And unfortunately, he could get feedback only from the ulema. There are situations, for example, when Vajpayee became the Prime Minister of India for 13 days, there were very few people who were ready to collaborate with him. He was demonized. Then came a Christian from Karnataka. His name was George Fernandez. He is still alive and physical vegetable. And he said that, Congress had lost the mandate to govern this country. And all other parties are regional. Therefore, let us make a national democratic alliance. And you know that Vajpayee made an attempt to make peace with Pakistan. He took Lahore, a bus to Lahore, and a dialogue was made. In the same way, had there been more senior advisors, Aurangzeb may not have behaved the way he behaved. What I am trying to say is that try to contextualize history. Don't demonize any person or glamorize any person. Why? Because Indians believe, whether they are Buddhists, Jains, Hindus, Parsis, Muslims, or traditional Christians, that man is very significant in the whole affairs of the cosmos. It is an Indian belief, and almost every religious community accepts it. Therefore, what defines Indian religions? Cosmic vision, in which human beings are one of the species out of many species created by God. This is our uniqueness. Second, Fundamentalism has been part of Indian society as well, but they have always been the fringe element in almost every community. And do you know what is the literal meaning or sociological meaning of fundamentalism? Anybody? Fundamentalism means that the letter of the written sentence is given more importance than the spirit behind the sentence or the words. When the letter becomes more important than the spirit of the sacred literature, it is called fundamentalism. What is wrong in it? In my opinion, as a sociologist, there is nothing wrong in it, provided there is non-duality between your preaching and your acting. Action and preaching should not be separated. This is the second Indian value, shared by almost every community. You should preach what you practice in your personal and family life. Non-duality, not spiritualism. What is non-duality? The Indian term is Advait. Advait means non-dual. There is no duality between what you say and what you do and what you have. The three should be one. What you do, what you say, and what you have should be non-dual. There should be no duality in it. This is the second Indian value. First, cosmic vision. And third, how many castes are found in India? Very difficult to say. When I was a student, I was told there are more than 5,000 castes in India. But last year, Sharad Yadav, the leader of Janata Dal United, who had been part of the Mandal agitation, and OBC reservation, he said in the media that when we collected the information for reserving the seats, we came across a number which is mind-boggling. More than 1 lakh castes. And what Indian sociologists have been doing? They have been equating Varna with caste. Varnas are only 4. And how many castes are there? According to the agitators of Mandal Commission, more than lakh castes. According to the traditional sociologists like Fourier, 5,000 castes. Now, how do you fit in the 5,000 or 1 lakh castes into 4 Varnas? The truth is that every Indian believes in Varna. He may not say it publicly. And they not only believe in Varna, they defend it. The whole debate had been about operationalizing the concept of Varna for giving reward and punishment. For example, what is the difference between class, modern class, and Varna? In modern classes, more emphasis is given on rights than on duties. On the other hand, in Varna, more importance is given to duties than rights. Now, there is a controversy. What is Varna? I will come to Fourier. First, I will give you the quotation. Fourier says, religious texts or documents are literary or symbolic text and not social text or documents. What has been debated in Indian sociology? They have taken the literal meaning of religious texts for political arguments. For example, in the Vedas, in the Rig Veda, there is a Purush Sukta which says that Brahma created Brahmins out of his head, Kshatriyas out of his arms, and Vaisyas out of his belly, stomach, and Sudras out of his legs. And many people took it literally. Now there are two very significant questions. Is it biologically possible that anybody, including Brahma, can give birth to a community of people, a strata of people out of head? Are children born out of this part of your body, or this part of your body, or this part of your body, or even this part of your body? Now, some dogmatic people will say, yes, it is possible. I have no argument. But then there may be some dangerous people also in society who will say that Hindus had no notions of biology. But then I will ask, what about Charak Samhita, my dear friend? Susut Samhita, what about Ayurveda? Hindus do not had a very developed biology, but also very developed medicine and surgery. Therefore, you cannot believe that they are making ignorant statement. They knew what they are saying. They are only saying that these are metaphors. Who is a Brahmin? Who does mental work. Who is a Kshatriya? Who does, the work which is related with administration and security. Who is a Vaisya? Who does work in the production of livelihood. And who is a Sudra? A person who does service or naukri. I am a Sudra. Vice Chancellor of JNU is a Sudra. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Donald Trump, Rashtrapati Donald Trump, they are Sudras because we are getting salary. When I was dealing with church, sect and cult, I said prophets are those who do not get economic, salary. Nothing in return. Therefore, this is functional division of society. Functional division of society. Varna is functional division of society, and then what are Savarnas? Savarnas are trained people. Because it is written in the demonized Manu Smriti, Manu has written, everybody is born as Shudra. Everybody, including Lord Ram and Lord Krishna, is born as a Shudra from the womb of the mother. And who is a Savarna? or twice born, the person who is trained by the Guru in the Guru, who is given 16 samskaras or sacraments. Therefore, Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Vaisyas, they are elite groups of Hindu society, and their importance is based on their training. This is the division between the Buddhist and the Hindu. The Hindus during the Buddha's time believed that Varna should be hereditary. The children of Brahmin should be considered Brahmin, and the children of Kshatriyas should be considered Kshatriyas, and the children of Vaisyas should be considered Vaisyas. Buddha said no. It has never been in India. And he gave 3 examples. Example number 1. Vishwamitra, sage Vishwamitra, is a very revered sage in the Rig Veda. And he was born as a king or Kshatriya. Then he did tapas, he did research, R&D in contemporary terms. Late education, adult education, he did not go to the school when, for the course of Brahmin. He went for the course of Kshatriya. And then there is a story of a cow, Nandini. The story is that he was the most important king. He was Narendra Modi or Donald Trump of his time, King Vishwamitra. But one day when he was hunting, he lost his way and he was separated from his army. He was very hungry and very thirsty. Then he saw some light from, the ashram of sage Vasishtha. He went there, found there is no human being in the ashram at the moment. And the sage is meditating by, closing his eyes. He thought that let me wait until he opens his eyes so that I can get some food and water. But he was not opening his eyes. Then he was roaming around and then found that there is a cow called Nandini. He went there and prayed to the cow, and all his needs were fulfilled. But as you know, kings are very greedy. Once basic needs were fulfilled, he asked for more, and Nandini gave more. 6 months, lapsed, and the sage was meditating. It is a metaphorical story. You can say it is a myth in Levi-Straussian terms. After 6 months, the sage asked, "How are you, Vishwamitra?" He said, "I'm fine, sir, but I'm very poor. I'm the greatest king of earth at the moment, but I do not have Nandini. You are a sage. It is useless for you. It is such a beautiful cow. It is full of virtue. Why not give this cow to me?" Vasishtha smiled, said, "Okay, take her in case you can." and then he tried his own tricks. Then started, fighting with the cow. Then brought all his army, and the single cow, defeated him and his army. Then Vishwamitra renounced his kingdom, made his son as the king, and took a vow that I'll be at par with Vasishtha so that I can have this Nandini. Buddha said, today you accept Vishwamitra as a sage, revered for the Brahmins. Had Varna system been static, you would not have elevated Vishwamitra as a great king. As a great sage. And do you know, Vishwamitra is regarded as the father of agricultural revolution in India. Before Vishwamitra, Hindus were eating only 7 types of rice. 7 types of rice. He created multiple crops. And the whole Ramayana, in case you read it carefully, is a fight between the pastoral Ravana and the agriculturist Vishwamitra. You know, what type of yajna or sacrifice he was doing? He was cutting the forest, burning it so that agricultural revolution could take place. What is the Sanskrit meaning of Rakshas? The one who protects. Ravan was a defender, he was not an aggressor. He kidnapped Sita, yes. But did he molest her, raped her, took her in his palace? No. There is a different story. And that I cannot share because there is no time, but I will make 2 sentences. D.K. Sarkar and Fourier both are united that in India, church was not found. Religious life of India before the Buddha was centered around cults. There were ethical teachers. And it was a freedom for every member of the village to follow any of the available ethical teachers. Are you getting the point? As a result, it is not a surprising thing that when a saint of the Christian church came to Kerala, they accepted him. Are you getting the point? Because organized religion was not found in India before Buddhism. Buddhism is the first organized religion of India. Before Buddhism, there were sages, there were acharyas, there were munis, ethical teachers, ethical prophets we were referring when I was dealing with cults and sects and church. They were all prophets, but it was not organized church. There was ample freedom. You can follow any teacher of your choice. In such a milieu, you can easily understand that the question of foreign preacher or a national preacher doesn't arise. It was not a question of tolerance. It was a question of cosmic vision. Ekam sad vipra bahuda vadanti. I said yesterday, according to the Vedic view, truth is one and it can be spoken by anybody. Therefore, Indians had a very different attitude towards any teacher of any origin. And even in Buddhism, the organized church came much later. Much later. During the time of Buddha, Buddha was one of the influential cult leaders of what? There have been two traditions of India. The Vedic tradition and the Shraman tradition. Shraman parampara. Shraman is from Shram or labor. Shraman parampara includes people who are today regarded as Jains, Buddhists, Lokayat people, and followers of Makhali Ghoshal, who are known as Ajivakas. Ajivak. Are you getting the point? But in case we have to summarize, you can say that in India, there are three types of religious groups. Margis, those who follow the path of knowledge. The Karma Margis, those who follow the path of action. And the Bhakti Margis, those who follow the path of surrender, devotion. For example, Vaishnavism will fit in Bhakti Marg. Saivism will fit in Jnana Marg. Shaktism will fit in Karma Marg. Buddhism will fit in Karma Marg. Jainism will fit in Karma Marg. Christianity will fit in the path of devotion. And what about Islam? Traditional Islam, that is Shias and Sunnis, they follow the path of bhakti. Muslims are those, the ideal Muslims are those who surrender completely to the will of the Allah. They are great bhaktas. And what is the meaning of Islam? A religion which preaches peace. We will discuss about other religions next week.